Good morning, Texas history students. Today we are taking notes over the Great Storm of 1900, which took place in Galveston, Texas. And that happened on September 8th, 1900. Winds were up to 140 miles per hour, and then also the waves were 7 to 9 feet above sea level, which means above where they're normally at. They were 7 to 9 feet. Okay, so a lot of this is going to be review, but then we're going to add some information down here at the bottom. The aftermath is that 6,000 people died in Galveston. And then altogether, total deaths are at 12,000. That's including the 6,000 from Galveston. And then we can compare this to more recent storms. So compared to Katrina in 2005, that killed 1,836 people. And then compared to Hurricane Harvey, which was more recently, in 2017, that killed 39 people. Now we're going to look at why that is, but first let's gather all our information. So because of these numbers, that makes this the deadliest, I feel like I didn't spell that right, deadliest natural disaster in U.S. history. That includes tornadoes, that includes floods, earthquakes, whatever it is, this was the worst. Also, they decided to send the corpse out to sea. That corpse means dead bodies. But they floated up and were washed to the shore, and so eventually they were all collected and burned. I'm sure that was a really terrible smell. When we look at rebuilding, it's unfortunate, but investors decided that it would not be wise to rebuild in Galveston, so they rebuilt their major shipping businesses in Houston. And Houston made a ship canal just for this purpose, so that investors could move there. Also, the city of Galveston built a seawall from 1902 to 1963. That seawall was 18 feet. We saw that in the video. And then also actually it was 17 feet by 6 miles. Remember that one? Okay, they also raised the city about 18 feet in the highest places. They pumped sand underneath the buildings that already existed. Okay, so this is new information. As the city was rebuilding, the government found that the people had a lot of unmet needs. And so what they did was they obviously were going to have to rebuild government. But it was a really big job, bigger than just enough for one mayor. So they selected 5 commissioners. These commissioners would have a committee that would be in charge of specific jobs. So each commission, which would mean group led by a commissioner, had specific jobs. So there was a police commission, and everyone on the police commission was in charge of police, getting crime down. Another one was in charge of securing water services, which I totally spelled wrong. Services. Another one was in charge of putting out fires and making sure gas lines were not being disrupted, reassembling gas lines, things like that. That was the fire department. And then there were others that were in charge of other specific needs that the citizens had that just could not wait, urgent needs. So then there's 5 cities around the United States that decide to adopt this government style, which is called commission style government. These other cities didn't have major disasters. They just saw how much Galveston was accomplishing, and so they decided to divide and conquer as well. So 5 cities adopted the commission-style government, and this includes 2 Texas, major Texas cities, which are Dallas and Houston. So now we want to see, well, did all this work? They rebuilt, they spent a lot of time and money rebuilding the city, making this wall. Did it actually work? So we can look at the damage from another storm. In 1915, there was a major hurricane. And it was 21 feet above sea level. That's how high the waves were. Is that higher or lower than the Galveston storm? Pause for an answer. Okay, and also the winds were 150 miles per hour. Is that greater or less than the Great Storm of 1900? Pausing for an answer. Okay, also we had 400 deaths total because of this 1915 storm. And then also in Galveston, there's only 11 deaths. So, with this information, can we assess whether their recovery efforts in Galveston after the 1900 storm were effective? Also, in order to make this decision, you need to look at the dates of the seawall, which are right here. Okay, may discussion commence. Have a wonderful day.